An older gentleman asks the young master about finding a daughter-in-law. It's time, he suggests. The older man suggests that now is the appropriate time to bring a suitable girl to be brought to Drivlane. Another older man understands that Kay delayed it because of unsettled issues, but time is of the essence. The man asks if it hasn't been long enough since Lady Ariadne's death. A tense moment. Caraxis questions the need to bring up his sister's death. It was his decision to leave the position of niece-in-law vacant. After all, the older gentleman insists he only wants what is best for Drivlane. Caraxis suspects the older man's intentions. Is it really for Drivlane, or does he want to get one of his daughters into the family? Visibly annoyed, the young master says he has nothing more to say and wants the men to leave. Caraxis, with piercing eyes, demands they leave at once. The older gentleman suggests they end the meeting for now, backing down from the tense moment. Caraxis is under immense pressure from the elders to find a niece-in-law soon. Caraxis worries about what will happen if he brings in a girl backed by the elders, fearing their arrogance. Caraxis ponders where he could find someone without any backing, a clean slate, so to speak. Meanwhile, someone rudely addresses a little albino. A group of maids demands that the albino answer them. How dare it ignore them? The albino apologizes, questioning why they are calling it. A maid instructs it not to clean there today, but to clean the library instead, pointing out the door at the far end. The maid threatens that it won't receive any food today if it refuses. Internally, the little albino recognizes the place as somewhere it shouldn't go near. The albino knows it can't refuse, so it trudges towards the ominous door, thinking about what it's getting into. The maids watch it go, commenting on the idiot falling for their trick. They suspect it doesn't even know what kind of place that is, and they think that it will disappear without a trace. The albino can hear everything, realizing it's a trap, but it can't make a peep. The albino, standing in front of the library, sadly notes that it's because it's an albino. It is explained that in this world, beastkin each possess a power called equalize. The albino thinks with envy that it can't even transform because albinos, like itself, have too little equalize and are therefore considered inferior. The albino despairs, wondering why it was reincarnated into such a terrible life. The former Korean actress, named Lehin, reincarnated into another world after a god's mistake, into the middle of a novel. There she became a saintess. She fell in love with Caraxis Drivlane, the world's greatest dark mage. She even offered him the holy relic dice from the church. Turns out Caraxis had taken a vow of chastity, and she ended up getting ghosted. Ouch. As the saying goes, a woman scorned can bring frost in midsummer. Lehin turned the world into a place of endless winter. The land continued to decay. The Holy Empire and the Magic Empire fought over resources, worsening relations. And that's exactly when the current albino reincarnated into this novel. And not just anywhere, but as a servant in villain Caraxis' mansion. Oh great. One slip up and I get eliminated, she thinks to herself. Now that she has a body she can move freely in, she already feels the danger. She remembers her previous life, never having happy memories. Not a single moment of that life was happy. But at least here, she won't go hungry. If she just hangs in there, maybe good days will come. Dami, as she calls herself, encourages herself to be happy, and enters the library. Caraxis is not happy. He demands to know who dares enter his private space without permission. Dami notices a sudden surge of pheromones, and wonders who it is. Caraxis reiterates that no one is allowed in this library. Even the pheromones feel dangerous, she thinks. Black hair. Teal eyes. That's the sign of the master of this mansion. A saber-toothed tiger beastkin, Dami realizes. Caraxis sees Dami and wonders what a kid is doing there. Dami, terrified, knows she needs to answer carefully. Dami stammers, saying that she's a servant and was suddenly assigned there. She doesn't really know the details. Caraxis is confused about the beast form, saying speaking in beast form would be impossible due to mouth structure, and asks who assigned her to a space off-limits for cleaning. Dami explains that the other servants told her to do it. Caraxis can already tell how Dami is being treated, based on the fact that she doesn't even know the house rules. Caraxis asks Dami where her family is, and Dami responds that she doesn't have one. Caraxis then asks what her name is, and again Dami says that she doesn't have one either. Caraxis asks if she has any relatives, friends, or anyone she knows. Dami thinks if he's mocking her and she prepares to answer. Dami confirms she has no one. Caraxis smirks, noting that a child without backing is just perfect. Feigning pity, Caraxis asks if Dami would like him to take her in, Dami is stunned. Caraxis sweetly says that she will become the daughter-in-law of their family. Dami repeats herself, confused. Daughter-in-law. It is explained that in the saber-toothed tiger clan, mentioning a daughter-in-law signifies that you hold an important position in the mansion. Dami wonders if this is all a dream. Caraxis says that since they might see each other often from now on, he'll give her a name. Caraxis. He says his name is Caraxis Lushan Drivlane. Dami is in shock. Dami realizes that Caraxis is the very same Caraxis, the villain of the century. She wonders why a person like that would make her his daughter-in-law. Is her life going to be okay this time? It is explained that the Drivlane clan has a unique tradition. From a young age, they live with the family head's heirs. They bring in the future daughter-in-law early. Eventually, she is to marry the heir who awakens the dominant pheromone. It's explained that the next head of the Drivlane family is decided in this way. But there's a problem. The heirs who awaken the dominant pheromone always compete, sometimes as two and sometimes as three. As a result, the heirs end up competing with each other. In other words, the next family head is basically decided by the daughter-in-law. Dami is surprised. She thinks that this might be the best position out of all her past lives, but the problem is Caraxis. What if this is a trap, she asks, realizing that Caraxis is the one who proposed this. Maybe she should try probing him a little, just in case. So what's good about being a daughter-in-law? She asks innocently. He matter-of-factly says that you get to eat well and live well. She regrets asking. Then she asks him why he made the proposal to her. Caraxis smirks, explaining that they needed a good child untouched by the elder's influence, and she just happened to fit that perfectly. Dami thinks he's saying that she's someone who never causes trouble, no matter what. Caraxis questions if she have more questions. Dami asks if she can ask just one more thing and asks the question. Dami asks if she's becoming a contract daughter-in-law, her eyes wide with curiosity. She thinks what if she becomes useless and kicked out? She thinks she should start preparing for the future. She thinks letting Rachel handle the love stuff, and she would focus on saving as much money as possible. Caraxis smiles cryptically. Dami, wary, wonders if it is a trap. Caraxis calls for Nenah. Nenah appears. Dami is scared. Caraxis explains to Nenah that she will introduce to the family meeting tomorrow, as she will be his niece-in-law, and tells Nenah to treat her well. Nenah understands and asks Dami what's her name. Caraxis says to just call her Sable for now and ensure to clean and feed her. Nenah agrees. Nenah introduces herself to Dami and ensures her that she will serve her wholeheartedly. Dami nods, but is surprised that Nenah is a cheetah. Dami is scared from cheetah form Nenah. Nenah said that she will help Dami with her bath first. Dami thinks that she should be careful to not get eaten. Nenah has been quiet since earlier. It's understandable that Nenah would be upset about being assigned to serve an albino. Nenah asks Dami why she is acting like that. Nenah asks Dami is she flustered from being suddenly turned to an albino. Dami apologizes to Nenah. Nenah starts scrubbing Dami in the tub, and Dami said that it tickles and asks her to stop. Nenah asks Dami to not say things like that from now on. On the contrary, she is honored to serve Dami. Dami is confused from being called wonderful. Nenah says that it is the first time she sees a beastkin talking in animal form and ensures Dami that she is intelligent. Dami is unsure what to respond. Nenah explains that animals and humans have different oral structures, so they normally can't speak in animal form. Dami understands. Dami said that she feels good about being praised and thanks Nenah. Nenah tells Dami that she is cute. Nenah transforms into her beast form and thinks to want to eat Dami with one bite. Dami is scared. Dami jumps out from the tub. Nenah apologizes and asks Dami to be dried. Nenah says Dami to not worry and said get a good sleep. Dami feels that it was a tiring day. Dami stretches and feels that too much has happened today. Dami lays on a bed like this for the first time in long time. Dami somehow got this chance this time, but it still feels too soon to feel relieved. Dami thinks to keep away from the villain's mansion and also the family meeting left. Dami is anxious, as she thinks who would accepted an albino like her to be Caraxis' niece-in-law. Dami thinks to do her best as a good daughter-in-law, but as she will leave, she will be preparing independent funds. Even though Dami can't humanize, Caraxis thinks that Dami is probably an ordinary girl. Dami knows that if she uses her knowledge from the original story, she probably won't get kicked out. Dami thinks that if she uses her knowledge wisely, she would get kicked out right away. Dami thinks that starting from tomorrow, She will start saving money little by little. She should save things that are light and she can carry. Dami doesn't want to wander around like a possessed nomad anymore. So this time, she wants to survive for a long time. Nenah informs Dami that she has prepared a bread with goat cheese, with milk for breakfast. Nenah shows the breakfast that she has prepared. Dami is amazed as she gets a treatment that is different from being a servant. Caraxis, Nenah and Dami are in front of the table, and Dami is enjoying the breakfast. Dami feels that this is heaven. Caraxis said that she shouldn't dip the bread in the milk. Dami didn't know that Caraxis has a caring side. No wonder Lahin fell head over heels for that face. Dami can't be fooled by Caraxis' caring side. Caraxis made armies with dead kin, and even hunted his own nephews to become the next heir. Caraxis asks Dami about her name. Dami is nervous. Caraxis said that on paper, Dami's name is Flea. She is surprised that she has a name. Caraxis said that as using that name is odd, so he registered her name to Florine. Dami wonders why he is arbitrarily changing her name. Dami got a name after 7 cycles of possession. She blushes and thinks that the name Florine is pretty. Caraxis said that the meatball has wrinkles. Dami gets offended that he called her meatball. Caraxis said that is not like they can get meat. Dami is satisfied with just the meal. Caraxis can't be helped then. Caraxis said to Dami to eat this to put some weight. Dami notices what is. It's a cookie. It has been too long time for Dami, since she has a dessert. Caraxis offers Dami if she wants more. Dami is nervous and asks if he means it. Dami wonders why Caraxis is nice, and if he is actually a good person, unlike in the original story. Caraxis said that he has something to tell Dami while she is eating. Caraxis informs Dami that he will take her to the family meeting. Dami gets surprised, and the cookie has broken. Dami thinks that is here on the condition of becoming a daughter-in-law. She remembers the Drivlane family's important matters were decided by the family meeting. Dami thinks that if she can't prove her usefulness, she will lose her chance of being a daughter-in-law and wonders if she can overcome this. Caraxis said that those old geezers say that they have lower bounties than him. Dami thinks if that's villainous but reassuring comfort. Caraxis said that it's better if she sees herself and tells her to come out if she is ready. Dami is still unsure. Caraxis asks what is it, but Dami is hesitant. Dami thinks that she ate too much. Dami gives Nenah the dessert. Dami said it's hard to pronounce Caraxis' name and tells her you too. Dami offers the dessert to Caraxis, that he has given her a room, meatballs, and even cookies. Dami thinks that even though his words were evil, he was trying to reassure her. Dami thinks that from now on, Caraxis is her only support, so it's good to make a good impression. Caraxis wonders if this is his kind of bribe. Caraxis said that it wasn't exactly that, but he will accept it gratefully. Caraxis thinks that Dami was still what to do, but now she is using her little head. Caraxis thinks that she has become quite bold. Caraxis wonders what she'll show him at the family meeting. Dami has no thoughts, as she gets surprised that Caraxis is planning to make a next albino generation. The elder asks Caraxis to get a hold himself and asks about the other candidates. Caraxis expected the opposition, but he didn't thought that they would be this upset. They must hate us really, that the seats next to us are completely empty. Caraxis didn't want to this in front of a child, but Caraxis said that the beast cubs are barking quite a lot and asks why they all are howling. The elders are yelling, that is to be expected from the official villain. Dami is wondering, where is the family head in this situation? Dami notices that both family head and young master's seats are empty. It is announced that the great 18th head of the Drivlane family has arrived, and everyone is to shut their mouth. Speak of the devil, Dami is shocked to what he said. Raftiern tells everyone to not breath, where the family head will go. Raftiern uses pheromone removal spray. Raftiern asks the family head to enter. Dami said to herself that Raftiern is not a fanatic, but Owl and the father's aide. The family head asks how everyone has been. The elders welcome the family head. The elder asks Caraxis to greet his father. Caraxis ensures that's his choice. The elders are annoyed and asks how long he will keep it up. Caraxis said until he feels it, and the elders are surprised. The beast form of the family head asks why the brat is not filling the sister's empty space. Dami wonders if the family head is not a gang boss. The family head asks Raftiern what is in Caraxis' arm. Raftiern explains it's a mart and a gibbling hobby. The family head said to ignore it and says that she is nephew's daughter-in-law. He expresses that he wants to see her even more. Dami is scared and she hides. She feels that she will suffocate. Dami is pleading to spare her to the family head. The family head says it's time to start the meeting and Rafjern agrees. Dami is confused and asks those two. Dami wonders if they smiled at her. If she plays this right, it could work in her favor. The elders ask the family head if he can believe that the young master said he'll take Dami as his wife. The elder is protesting that Caraxis hate albinos. The family head silences the protesting elder. The family head said he hasn't given anyone permission to speak. The family head asks Caraxis if he has any thoughts. Caraxis refuses to talk, and the elder exclaims, "Excuse me." The elder are swearing to the Lord in the family meeting. Caraxis said that it's too loud that he is gonna die. The elder are complimenting Dami with her manners. Caraxis intervenes to control themselves, and that swearing is not good for a child's emotional development. Caraxis adds that Dami is not tied to any school, regional, or bribery. The elder thinks that Dami is a clean child with no backing, and thinks that's reason enough. The elder said that they recommend someone to be of help to Drivlane, and that the young master still has authority. Caraxis said to not speak his sister's name, and warns them of the consequences. Caraxis gives his final warning, and said they will regret it. Dami wonders why they would react like that for saying Ariadne's name, and thinks it is after her death. It must be Ariadne's heir position. Ariadne Hera Drivlane was a genius with dominant pheromones. She was perfect and destined to be the next lord, breaking the tradition. But she lost her life in the war. Caraxis must miss Ariadne terribly, and that's why he left the position vacant. Since they are talking about the heir position, Caraxis wants to say something as well. Caraxis declares that if Dami becomes the daughter-in-law, he will immediately inherit the position of heir. Dami gets surprised of that, and realizes how far he went to make her a daughter-in-law. Caraxis asks if he has the ability to take and give the position of heir, and asks if Dami is amazing. The elder said that that's something he can't call ability. Caraxis questions if he doesn't said to be fine as long as they're capable. Caraxis knows that they are concerned and trusts that they will fine with it. Caraxis was warning the elders, and that he is serious on making her his daughter-in-law. Dami is shocked and gets looked by the family head. The family head said that his son is fond of her. Dami thinks he talked to her. She wonders what to say because it would be strange. The family head said that his son is finally saying he will take the heir position, and he can't oppose him. Dami thinks he is persuading the elders, and that she has to persuade her well to survive here, and starts the operation. Caraxis asks everyone to focus, and the elder wonders what's going on. Dami is going to demonstrate a hidden skill to persuade the elders, and the family head questions. Dami said to trust her and buy land. The family head thinks, and repeats to buy land and asks for Dami confirmation. Dami recommends a real estate investment. Dami asks Rafjern if he has a map, and Rafjern answers that he does. Dami asks him to open the map. Dami shows the family head to buy this area. The family head asks if it is Luxoria. The family head said that it's not valuable, and asks for the reason. Dami said that that's true for now. Dami explains that it was fertile and for wheat farming. She adds that Lahin used it. Wheat grows there, it seems useless now, but it will be useful soon because. The elders get shocked and asks if spring is coming. Caraxis questions if spring is coming. The elder questions if she really knows what spring is. The family head asks if Dami knows what spring is. Dami said that she knows that the snow will melt, and you will start farming again. Dami said to buy the land as it will be cheap. She is thinking she can't say the world is a novel. Dami asks Caraxis for help. Caraxis thinks that Dami is improvising well, and wonders if he should mess with them a bit. The family head said that she is probably clairvoyance. Caraxis wants to reveal something to all of them. Caraxis said that this child is a saintess. The elders get surprised. The elders protest, and wonders why she is making it worse. They are protesting Caraxis bringing chaos. The elder wonders why there is a saintess, while others believe that she is a saintess. Nenah informs to Dami that they keep receiving gifts each day, and asks where should she put them. Dami said that put them anywhere, it's fine. She is protesting this is all Caraxis' fault. Dami is anxious what will happen if someone finds out. Caraxis leaves and tells her to just fake it, and act they are true if they have questions. And with that, he left the room without another word. Nenah seemed concerned. She asked Florine if she was bored or down. Florine admitted she was just a little upset. Nenah suggested that being stuck inside because of the blizzard was frustrating. She offered a game or something to alleviate the boredom. Florine insisted she was fine and didn't want to take up Nenah's time. Florine thought Nenah was incredibly considerate. She later learned that Nenah was actually Caraxis's only maid. When Florine learned that Nenah did everything for Caraxis, she was furious. She wondered how Caraxis could work someone so hard, but after knowing the full story, she was impressed. It turned out, Nenah was originally an assassin sent to kill Caraxis. Instead of being killed, Caraxis captured her, and then he hit her with a 10-year forced obedience contract spell. Talk about a hostile takeover. Florine thought it was genius. She wanted to ask him about it later. She considered that if she could pull off something like that, she might actually survive if she got kicked out of the house. Caraxis called out for Nenah, asking for a sketchbook. Right away, Nenah responded. Nenah presented the sketchbook with crayons, and Caraxis thanked her. The little ferret thought it was time to make a plan for the sake of her comfortable future. If she could keep up this fake saintess act and become the official daughter-in-law, eventually one of the heirs would become her husband. She figured they would all end up obsessed with Lahin later anyway, so it probably didn't matter which one she married. She had to stop Drivlane from collapsing. She had worked too hard to become the lady of the house, so there was no way she was ending up on the street. First, she would build a powerful foundation that had nothing to do with her husband, and if she could lessen the family's downfall even a little, that would be great. Which meant she had to deal with what caused Drivlane to collapse in the first place. Honestly, the biggest problem was that the original novel was a tragedy. The main plot was Lahin healing the male lead's childhood traumas and saving them, but if they didn't suffer as much in childhood, things wouldn't spiral as badly, right? Male lead list. Number 1, Dante, Ariadne's son and the only direct heir. Male lead list. Number 2, Yuri, Ariadne's youngest son, with blood from the Imperial Mage Empire. Male lead list. Number 3, Gird, and while not Ariadne's son, he is part of the royal family of Lechenvium. Lahin was still sealed away, and Florine was the only one who could meet them in their childhood. This was her chance. All done. Her plan: 1. Become Drivlane's daughter-in-law. 2. Grow a political faction without letting anyone find out she's a fake saintess. 3. Befriend the household in preparation for Lahin's arrival. 4. Save the suffering male leads before Lahin can. It's like speedrunning a tragedy. Perfect. If things went according to plan, she could do this. But nothing ever goes exactly as planned, so she should be ready for the worst too. Sugar boost first. Sweet, sweet bliss. Being a fake saintess had its perks. If only she could keep this up forever. Once spring came, she would be in a much stronger position. Fewer people would suspect she wasn't the real saintess, and when that time came, she would sell her knowledge of the novel to stay alive. Spring, when was it coming? Nenah asked, pardon, and Florine turned to her. The little ferret was startled. Who's that? Rathgern announced, I'm Rathgern. The Lord has requested your presence, Lady Florine. She was shocked. Rathgern calls Lady Florine. Are you Florine? Thought. Lady Florine. Florine shouted, I'm right here. Every nerve in her body was screaming. Ah yes, then I shall escort you, Rathgern said, adjusting his glasses. Yes, no doubt about it. Spring had definitely arrived. Time to start selling off her Holy Empire intel for real. An employee exclaimed, My lord, look at this. It's exactly as she said. New sprouts were discovered in Luxoria. One of the workers told everyone, I had my doubts, but I'm glad we bought that land in Luxoria, the family head said. Its value is only going to keep rising from here. More investors were happy with the news. Florine shouted, My lord, I'm here, can I come in? The family head asked with surprise. Florine asked, How have you been, with a cute face? The family head responded, I've been well. Remind me, what was your name again? Florine responded, It's Florine. The family head told her, Ah, right, Florine, I'll be sure to remember it properly now. The ferret thought, He's unusually enthusiastic today. Something good must have happened. The family head offered, Now, don't just stand there, come have a seat and enjoy some milk. Florine responded, Okay. Florine pondered that the cup's a little big. Nenah always gave me a smaller one, as it was easier to drink from. The family head apologized for the cup. Ah, my apologies. Imagine it's hard to drink like a human in your form. I'll have custom dishware and cups made for you. Florine thanked him with joy. An employee said, Of course. How could we not do that for the treasure of our house? The family head looked at her and thought, Everyone's looking at me with such warm eyes. Florine thought, This feels kinda nice. Long live the fake saintess, let's keep this going. The family head mentioned, Now, the reason I called you so suddenly is because sprouts were found recently in the Luxoria lands. Florine was happy because I knew it. The family head I wanted to ask you a few more things about that area, which is why I called you. Florine was excited because sure, what would you like to know? The family head explained, just as you said, we bought the entire region under Drivlane's name. It was still winter a week ago, so we got it at a very low price. Even if it was cheap, to buy an entire village like it's nothing. The family head questioned, now, we'd like to make use of that land. Would it be alright to till it all and turn it into farmland? Florine exclaimed, huh. The family head declared, wasn't it originally a wheat-growing region? So since spring has come, shouldn't we plow the fields? Florine opposed that idea, no, no, no. What are you even saying? There's a way to make the land's value skyrocket instantly. The family head looked surprised but thought to himself, ah, I get it. The family head asked Florine in a slightly mocking way, this whole thing. Florine believed he was testing her. Then I have no choice but to pass the test. My lord, I have a slightly different idea, Florine exclaimed. The family head asked for her opinion on the matter. Really, what do you think? The method you mentioned is a good one but, in my opinion, we should auction it and sell it to the imperial family at a high price. Florine shouted her idea. An employee stated, proof of spring has appeared in Luxoria. Florine mentioned, in the original story, this little sprout shook both the Magic Empire and the Holy Empire. The employees thought, the value of Luxoria must have already started skyrocketing beyond imagination. The employees spoke, we could farm the land ourselves but, Florine said, from here on it's Drivlane's land. Everyone will gossip that Drivlane is monopolizing spring. But even so, it's not like Luxoria's crops could feed the entire Magic Empire. Then, while everyone's still eyeing it, we need to sell it off at a high price, the family head said. The family head emphasized, we need to sell it for a very high price, so high it'll shock everyone. Florine seemed proud of herself. Not bad. How did you come up with that? The family head asked. Florine didn't know how to respond, but thought her brain had no choice but to work fast. Because Drivlane's gains are my gains too. In the original story, Drivlane was considered the villain, but despite that, they strictly followed performance and reward systems. So the more expensive we sell it, the more money I get. Florine stated, let's keep the momentum and try to win even more favor. My lord, there's one more thing I want to tell you. The family head asked, oh, more interesting info. Florine responded, yes. The family head gave her a chance to share her opinion. Florine thought, nice, now he's really listening to everything I say. Florine affirmed, I said spring is coming soon, right? The family head remembered, right, and just like you said, we saw sprouts in Luxoria. The family head mentioned, soon it won't just be Luxoria, spring will come to the entire world. Florine felt worried because, oh dear, then we must sell Luxoria as soon as possible. The royal brats are gonna be furious once they pay up, Florine exclaimed. Excited a worker acknowledged, you really get it right away. The employees smiled after listening Florine's idea. That's going to be quite a sight. It's already turning out to be a lot of fun. Florine thought, I laughed like a villain without realizing it. Why do I get along so well with villains? It feels like I'm enjoying getting back at the royal family more than the money. Well, a win is a win either way. The family head seemed amused. I can't wait, the employee mentioned. Florine said, but my plan isn't over yet. My lord. The family head replied to Florine with curiosity. Florine asked the family head, would Drivlane happen to have seeds and fertilizer? The family head replied to her, seeds and fertilizer. Florine stated, since spring will come to the whole country anyway, you're saying we should sell the seeds, fertilizer and seedlings being researched in Drivlane. The family head acknowledged, of course, my lord. You caught on right away. The family head responded to her, people all over the country will need seeds and fertilizer. Seize the market. That's your plan. Florine expressed her excitement because yes, then Drivlane will surely hit the jackpot. The reason I speak with such confidence, Florine mentioned. In the original story, Drivlane was strong in military industries like golems, guns and bombs. But in truth, the family is also deeply knowledgeable about crop cultivation. That's because the current duchess is a spirit summoner contracted with the earth spirit. She's long researched how to grow crops indoors to help feed the starving people. Thanks to that research, the seeds held by House Drivlane are stronger than those of any other house. Now that spring is here, we'll get our first harvest with them. And maybe, it'll mean more than just a harvest. The problem is that only Drivlane people know this info. What if they start getting suspicious of me? The family head showed his distrust. The family head suspected, you don't seem like someone who'd suggest this without knowing anything. So where did you get that information and come up with this idea? Right, no matter how smart I am, knowing something I wasn't told is suspicious. No choice, if it's come to this. I'll just have to sell out Caraxis. Actually, Kilek Kurim Kiras, Tada Tilda. The family head acted surprised. Kiss. You mean Caraxis? Florian responded, yes. His real name is hard to say. An employee laughed that Caraxis is Kiss. Florian mentioned, I had no choice. It's exhausting to say his name every time. I told him I wanted to help Drivlane, and he said he could be of help, and told me about the seeds. The family head understood what's going on. The family head praised Florian, how admirable, thinking that far with such a tiny head, truly admirable. Florian was confused when the family head said, such an admirable child deserves a reward. That's right. Drivlane's nature is to take what it wants without shame, but you can't just take anything freely. You must name the worth of your own accomplishments. Experiences like this help prepare you to manage the household affairs in the future. The fact he's telling me this now, it means he's accepting me as part of House Drivlane, doesn't it? I've always lived like a wanderer. I never belonged anywhere. But now, I finally have a place I can belong to. The family head asked, now, let me ask you again. How much do you think your contribution is worth? Right, the kind of child he wants here is well-trained, not just someone obedient and quiet. There's only one thing these people want. It's to be someone worthy of being a Drivlane daughter-in-law. This too must be a test of my ambition. In that case, I'll show them ambition worthy of Drivlane. What I want is. The two employees were shocked to listen. I want to have Drivlane. The family head looked at her with calm. Are you saying you want the Drivlane family right now? Florian replied with confidence. The Drivlane family is the strongest and the best in the world. One of the employees questioned, what is that child saying? Even so, that's, the employee mentioned. Florian thought, was asking for the Drivlane family a bit too much. The family head was glad and told Florian, you adorable little one. The employees asked, family head. The family head told her, I can't give you the family yet, but I'll give you something else. You'll get your own private bedroom right now. Choose one from the rooms on the second floor of the main building. As expected of the Drivlanes, I knew it, but I didn't expect to be rewarded so quickly, Florian thought. This is the best, thank you so much. Florian felt cheerful. The family head told her, giving you just this seems a bit lacking. The family head wondered, well, child, how old are you? Florian didn't know either. I don't know, come to think of it, I don't even know how old I am. If I could transform into a human, I'd be able to figure out my age. But no matter how hard I try, I can't feel the equalize, so I can't transform into a human. Is it because that I'm an albino that I can't do it? If only I could transform into a human. The family head assured her, I only asked because you seem to be at the age that requires a nanny, but don't worry about it. Florian was surprised. If you want to transform into a human, I'll look for a way to make that possible, but even if you can't transform. The family head reassured her, the fact that you're part of the Drivlane family won't change, so don't feel discouraged. Florian confirmed, yes, that's right. No matter what, I've become a member of the Drivlane family, so I don't need to be intimidated. Let's prove that my existence will be useful to the Drivlanes from now on. Florian mentioned to the family head, I have one more thing to tell you. The family head was surprised, oh, you still have more to say. Florian asked, yes, do you happen to have a map? The employee mentioned, I have a map right here. Florian was excited and asked the employee who has the map, are there any more lands left to mess with the imperial family? The employee said, no, this might be even more important information. She starts to give directions, first here, and here and here and here. She asked, what about those places? All the places I just mentioned. They'll all be suddenly flooded soon. The family head was shocked. The employee said that the locations are quite specific, but for a child to know about the front lines is a bit. Can we trust this? Florian asked, please trust me. Florian was certain of her prophecy. Isn't it already happening? Last time, spring came just as I said. Are you going to regret it later without even trying this time? Florian explained the situation to prove her point. If it floods, I'll be affected too, so why would I lie? The family head thought more highly of her, that confident attitude and self-assurance. The more I look at her, the more fitting she is for the Drivlane family. The family head ordered his employee Rafjern, at this rate, I have no choice but to listen. Rafjern, inform everyone of this immediately. Be careful not to be intercepted. Rafjern complied, I obey your command. Family head, isn't this judgment too hasty? The employee mentioned with worry. The family head ordered, think about it carefully. If this information is accurate, it will save the lives of our soldiers, and even if it's false, it will cause confusion among those Holy Empire bastards. We have nothing to lose. The family head trusted Florine. Above all, I want to believe in this child. The family head told Florine, now, we need to have a meeting on defending the front lines, so go and choose your bedroom. Florine showed confidence and told, of course, I wanted to keep gaining recognition, but apart from that, I don't want to disappoint someone who believes in me. I hope my prophecy will be helpful to these people. From that day on, as the family head said, I got my own private bedroom. Florine meet the nanny whose name is Evangeline. I'm Linda, I'm in charge of the young mistress, bathing and clothing. I'm John, assigned to be the young mistress bodyguard. I look forward to serving you. I got a nanny, a personal maid and a guard knight. Now young mistress. Say ah tilde Nenah said. Florine felt comfortable and calm. The nanny Evangeline, the employee and Nenah, were argued about who can take care of Florine. If it were Florine from not too long ago, this would have been unimaginable. My popularity in the Drivlane family is growing day by day. Give me a chance too, young mistress. Me too. Florine remembered her last conversation with Caraxis. The memories of Caraxis. Florine wondered why Caraxis had not visited her. She tried to remember him with a gift he gave her. She thought about the days. He suddenly appears by her side and calls her name. He gifted her golem. She admired the golem. She appreciated and mentioned where his confidence came from. Caraxis described the golem's functionalities. She thanks and admired Caraxis. Since that day, they haven't talked. She remembered golem name. To get Caraxis' good grace, she need to work harder. Florine appreciated the golem's present. Two employees talk what saint is. Florine's work started getting praised. Everyone's praising Florine and saying she saved them. Past days. Enemies got arrogant. Enemies got ambushed. All got killed. Red-eye beast tigers was seen. They did not expect the unexpected ambush. The information was spread fast. She noticed the popularity that she was getting from House Drivlane. She started getting doubts and questioned herself. Her rumors spreading was all according to the plan. Her popularity was getting all according to her plan. She noticed a call from her grandpa. The family head wanted to have word with her. She asked him with doubt, why was he calling her all of a sudden? She felt a strange vibe to be caught. She hesitated and stuttered in what was going on. She started being anxious and doubted for being caught. She got relieved. She was happy after listening the family head's ideas. She started feeling free to the family head. She was happy her existence being in the family head. After hearing that the family head trusted her, she was happy. She thanked the prophecy after the family head trusted her words. As she was the new family member, she got the luxury of her own bedroom. She met her new nanny. She met her new personal maid. She met her new bodyguard. One of the employees serves her. Florine starts to get taken care of. She felt grateful for them. Feeling gratitude was one of the unimaginable dream come true. She was thankful for the growth of popularity. She remembered Caraxis. Caraxis was doing all of its work. Caraxis gave the golem. The golem's name was Pompom. She remembered when she got the golem 2 days ago. Caraxis asked Florine. Caraxis gifts the golem to her. That's what the golem was. Golem functionalities was to spread the message. The golem could translate into multiple languages. She was thankful for the gift. She realized how long it's been since they talked together. Pompom, what a cute name. Caraxis have taken good care. She appreciated the time spending in the house. What a nice servants they had. They noticed the little young saint. How lucky that she was there. Past storyline. The enemies were not expecting it. Enemies got ambushed. Enemies got wiped out. Tiger appeared. They didn't expect to be ambushed. Her popularity increased. The topic with Albino was mentioned. The comment was made, and they showed worried with each other for being said. Albino's rumors was increased. She started making rumors. She gets called Olive a sudden from the family head. One of the employees calls her by being quite gentle. She asks with doubts why Olive a sudden the family head is saying. The doubt for the family head increases to Florine. She was anxious for everything. She asked why with doubts, but now that things have turned out this way, you're the great saint who awakened with spring, and I'll spread the rumor that the Holy Empire saint is a fake, so no one can ignore you. What a crazy idea. The trust grew in that house. They hoped to end the spring treaty, but I need to work harder for being recognized. She was kind but asked if she was not feeling well. The employee asked, "Oh, I see." More expectations gets raised. The expectation for what it's going to be grew. They were happy and felt gratitude in what's going to be. Everything was all according to her plan. The fluffy ferret, Gird, retorts that he's not ungrateful, just honest about the food being dumped in his face. A blonde-haired young master Rafjern is flushed with rage. He clenches his fist, offended that someone he considers a lowborn dared to lecture him. Rafjern angrily points a finger at Gird, declaring that he'll lock Gird away in a tower once they're married. Not if. John, Rafjern's bodyguard, exclaims young master, in shock, though he admits he didn't mind overhearing. Gird internally notes that the original story mentioned a Lichenvium when Gird appeared. Gird flashes back to the king of Lichenvium, his father, who had countless concubines. After a time, the women of Lichenvium were dragged into a tower. They spent their lives there, begging for the king's mercy. Gird, the ferret, looks angrily as he recalls that Lion, Rafjern's sister, wanted him for life as the sister leaned into Rafjern's space. Rafjern's bodyguard is shocked that Rafjern threatened the ferret and exclaimed, saying that he will report to the head of the family. Rafjern can't believe the bodyguard would report him for that. Rafjern can't believe the bodyguard would report him for that. Gird thinks to himself that it makes sense because he grew up pampered. Gird states to himself that right is right and should be punished for it. Rafjern is stunned when Gird asks him who ever said he would marry him. Gird, still in the hands of the bodyguard, smugly states there are plenty of other candidates besides Rafjern. Rafjern, still furious, barely manages to contain his anger. John wonders if Rafjern's reluctance to get angry is because he still wants to be heir. John wonders if Rafjern is scared of John and can't get angry. He knows that it would be ridiculous and a sign of weakness. Rafjern gives up, saying that there is no need to deal with Gird anymore and tells John to let's go. Rafjern internally notes that in the original story, John awakened as an alpha and become a strong candidate for succession. He sighs and says that he should just let Lion and Rafjern play house together. Rafjern is furious and thinks about how Gird dare to humiliate him in front of the servants. Rafjern decides to show Gird what he's got. John exclaims in shock. Rafjern laughs, telling Gird that he dared to mock him and that he deserved what's coming to him. Gird is beside himself, in shock that Rafjern is totally insane. John realizes that it's the spirit of wind and exclaims in disbelief that Rafjern used spirit magic against the young lady. John is shocked that the spirit is the protective spirit bestowed by the royal family of Lichenvium and warns that if word gets out, Rafjern will be in big trouble and ask him to stop. Gird asks, "Is that so?" Rafjern retorts saying that he doesn't want to. Gird is being swung around by the wind spirits and exclaims, saying that he is getting motion sick and asks to save him, thinking Rafjern is completely off his rocker. John says that the head of the family ordered him to prioritize the young lady's safety above everything else, and says that he will forcibly banish the spirit. Gird is appalled as he asks Rafjern if he is pointing a sword at him. Rafjern yells at him on how dare he is. John says that he can't even look at Gird because she is out of touch, and throws Gird towards Rafjern. Gird denies this and says that his head is spinning. Gird says that he tried to be the bigger person, but he can't take it anymore. Rafjern says that he is getting his revenge and yells, asking for the young lady. Rafjern asks what is going on here and says that Gird is just biting him. Gird says what Rafjern thinks this is. Rafjern retorts, saying that it's his revenge. Gird screams that Rafjern should let go and tells him that he started the fight. John is shocked and tells both young masters to stop. John and the cook are worried, telling the two of them that they will really get hurt. Rafjern scoffs and says that they are already hurt. The head butler says both of them should stop it instantly. The head butler asks what is all the commotion about. The head butler tells both of them to follow him. Gird reluctantly says yes and Rafjern huffs. Lion states to herself that is all done. The head butler is confused on how the two of them engaged in a physical altercation. Rafjern says he will certainly report this to the head of the family and says that Gird acting like this in front of Rafjern means that he hasn't come to his senses. Lion asks how is Rafjern and Gird, and the head butler responds that both have scratches, but nothing serious. Lion replies, stating that it is a relief and asked if the head butler could give them a moment alone. He agrees, but asks not to scold them too harshly. Lion leaves and asks to be called when they are done talking. The head butler states that he needs to hear the full story of what happened. He gets angry and thinks that he seems really angry. The head butler says that he will ask the two of them directly. Gird states that Raffiern will definitely claim he is the victim, and that if he does, John and the cooks will suffer. Raffiern states that he needs to steer this situation in his favor before Gird does. Raffiern says that he will report directly to the family head and questions why he should explain anything to the head butler. The head butler questions Raffiern on if he thinks he can interrupt the family head's schedule, to which Raffiern retorts that he is a blood relative, so of course. The head butler asks Gird if he has anything to say. Gird shyly states that he is sorry for causing a commotion by biting Raffiern's tail. The head butler says that the young lady understands well. The head butler tells Gird such behavior is barbaric and goes on a lecture about the importance of reason. Gird notes that the head butler's voice seems to have softened a lot. Gird asks why someone who should know better act like that. Gird says that Raffiern threw away the pudding. The head butler questions what Gird means by that. Gird answers by explaining that it is because he threw the pudding away. Gird questions on how he should start explaining. Gird explains that Raffiern threw the pudding that the cooks worked so hard to make in front of him. Gird continues that, when he got angry, Raffiern said all sorts of insulting things to him. Gird suddenly turns on the translation function. Gird notes that the timing is perfect, because he was in a difficult situation, and that there are many witnesses. Gird reiterates that Raffiern threw the snack for today in the trash in front of the cooks, and asks what he is going to do about it, presenting the evidence. Raffiern is shocked that Gird had this function too. Gird recalls that Raffiern told him that he will lock him up in a tower and spend his whole life craving only his love. Raffiern yells that it recorded that. The head butler says Raffiern's name. The head butler repeats himself and asks what is going on here. Raffiern states that this is absurd. Raffiern tells Gird that it is fabricated. John says that it is not fabricated, that he is a witness. Raffiern asks what is going on. Gird notes to himself that this is an unexpected development. Gird smiles and says that it is actually good, and that Raffiern is done for now. Raffiern is shocked that the spirit bullied him and grabbed his head. The head butler asks what did it just say. The head butler is angry and questions how he used a spirit given by the royal family to attack the young miss. Raffiern retorts, crying, that he wanted to teach her a lesson, but she laughed at him first. The head butler tells Raffiern that he doesn't seem to realize what he's done wrong, and an attack by a royal spirit could escalate into a conflict between Lechenvium and the Drivlanes. Raffiern asks what is wrong with punishing an albino, and says how dare she to royalty. The head butler thinks to himself that Raffiern is reckless. Raffiern states to pay his respects to the head of the family. Raffiern says hi to the head of the Drivlanes, the young family head. Raffiern asks the family head how he intends to handle the commotion. The family head wonders if they heard everything. Raffiern is glad and needs to deliver the final blow. He tells the family head. Raffiern says he is hurt. Gird thinks that is a cunning thing. Gird asks the family head what he has overlooked and what it is. Raffiern runs up to the family head. Gird asks if the family head is hurt anywhere. Raffiern says that he should hug the family head first. The family head notices that there is blood on his shirt. Gird says that the family head please don't be hurt. Gird says that his cunning is one step ahead. Gird says that the family head can't be sick, because if he is, the Drivlane will be sick too. The family head asks if he saw the blood on his collar, and nervously agrees. The family head states that it isn't his blood, so don't worry. Gird thinks that he is someone who sees people's potential more than power. Raffiern tells the family head not to fall for that trick, and tells him that Gird is the one who did this to him. Gird thinks that the kid can't possibly know that. The family head will decide whose side to take and chills. The family head tells Gird that he will not speak at length and cannot leave the successor's quarters until he has reflected on his wrongdoing. Raffiern is shocked because he is the one who got hurt. The family head says that if Gird hurts the king of Lechenvium, then he won't sit back. The family head threatens that if Raffiern doesn't listen, he will be stripped of his status and sent back to Lechenvium. Raffiern says is dumb to threaten the Drivlane head by saying Lechenvium won't stand still. The family head tells Raffiern to go back to Lechenvium. The family head will take care of the child who must be frightened, and that sounds best. Gird waves goodbye to the family head. The family head is impressed by Gird's politeness. The family head thinks that Gird is certainly polite. Caraxis wonders why he didn't walk to his room. Gird wonders if Caraxis rushed to get there for him. Caraxis is glad to see Gird fine and suggests that he lies down and rest well. Gird thinks that he was punished anyway, though he would have been punished more. Caraxis wants Gird punished more because it would have made him cry. Gird thinks he doesn't have to deal with Rafjern anymore. Caraxis assures Gird that there are other candidates besides Rafjern and is sure one of them will be decent. Gird says that he wants to meet the other candidates soon. Caraxis states that the meetings might be delayed and asks why. Caraxis states that some of them are in other places. One is at a military academy. Caraxis continues to describe the other candidates that consist of Dante from the military academy and a shark beastman. Caraxis continues, stating that one of the candidates is a saber-toothed tiger and is Yuri. Caraxis doesn't think the last one really counts. Gird is confused on why Caraxis is crossing them out. Caraxis states that one of them is Gird's older brother. Gird realizes they sent Gird because the firstborn cannot be Drivlane's successor. Caraxis tells Gird that he'll meet the others in time and asks to let him or the head know immediately if there is any trouble with them. Gird wonders if Caraxis seems friendlier and questions if it's because he is a patient right now. Caraxis states that the bodyguard should stop it before it gets to that point. Gird cries and questions why John will be punished. Caraxis says it's John's failure to protect the mistress properly and asks what logic is that. Gird tells Pompom that they can't do that. Caraxis says that power cannot beat him and wonders how John can stand up to Drivlane's heir. Gird cries because John had no authority. Gird wants it to be fair. Gird yells at Caraxis that is not right. Caraxis asks Gird if he really thinks that is fair. Caraxis states that the more he sees, the more they are alike. Gird asks what he just said, and Caraxis denies it. Caraxis questions Gird whether or not he wants John to be punished, and asks what John has done wrong. Caraxis gets that Gird doesn't want John to be punished. Gird thinks Caraxis can laugh like that is surprising. Caraxis needs to tell Gird something. Caraxis tells Gird that the classes start tomorrow. Caraxis has found a way to give Gird proper status. Caraxis states that there is someone who could become his adoptive mother, but that there is a problem. Gird is shocked and states that is impossible. Gird explains that he is just an albino girl and doesn't know why anyone would accept someone like him as family. Caraxis states that it's not entirely impossible. Gird wonders what he is feeling since earlier. Gird states that he has been wondering for a while. Caraxis states that he lied to people and called Gird a saint to help him. Gird is confused and appreciates how Caraxis gave him Pompom. Gird questions why he is being so good to him. Gird wonders if Caraxis is hiding something. Caraxis reminds Gird that there will be lessons starting tomorrow. Caraxis thinks that he has a way to give Gird a proper status. Caraxis exclaims that there is a woman who could be your mother and will need to go to the Yantarosa Mountains to find her. Gird states that the mountain is dangerous. Gird asks how sweet it is to have Caraxis worried about him. Gird asks what Caraxis means by status and asks what is he talking about. Gird denies it when Caraxis says there is no way anyone would accept an albino like him as family. Gird asks why he is being so nice, and it is strange. Gird asks if there is something that Caraxis wants from him. Gird reflects on how everything comes at a price. Gird remembers being asked if he wants to live with his uncle. Gird knows he's not used to receiving kindness without a price. Gird reflects on not being used to receiving kindness. Gird is afraid that this kindness will erode him. Gird explains that it would be more miserable to go back to his old life. Gird would feel more at ease if there was an ulterior motive and ask a reason. Caraxis says that it's because you resemble her and asks what did he say. Caraxis claims there's no particular reason and that it's natural to cherish his collection. Gird responds that he is not part of the collection. Gird explains that he didn't want to get married, but it would be nice to have a daughter. Caraxis states that he is not a daughter. Caraxis asks Gird if he's wondering why Caraxis hasn't revealed his identity, and Gird agrees. Caraxis is doing what he is doing because he wants to. Gird thinks that what kind of reason is that, and that is not enough to treat him well. Caraxis explains that in the original story, he dabbled in dark magic out of boredom. Gird doesn't want to look for logic from someone like that. Gird does not need to think deeply about it. Caraxis reminds Gird that he is the Drivlane's daughter-in-law. Caraxis notices that Gird is worried. Caraxis tells Gird that he shouldn't worry and go to sleep. Gird thinks this is too sudden. The sky looks like it is still daytime. Caraxis says goodbye and asks Gird to rest comfortably. Gird says to wait and mentions one more thing. Gird exclaims that he is not officially Caraxis' daughter-in-law yet. Caraxis explains that he needs the approval of the duchess. Caraxis says that it will be difficult to meet her, and not to worry and go to sleep. Gird thinks that the duchess died a year ago. Nenah Abigail Drivlane, the 18th Duchess and Earth Spirit Mage. She is also the mother of Caraxis and his sister Ariadne. The duchess lived in seclusion for a long time, due to the grief of losing her daughter. Gird thinks that she probably does not want to bring in a daughter-in-law. Gird decides to not do anything that may upset her. Gird decides to reintroduce himself. Rafgern says that he is in charge of the young lady's lessons, and that he is an owl beastkin. Rafgern greets Gird. Gird mentions that he slept from daylight without waking up once. Rafgern states that it is time to begin. Gird says the Drivlanes are a meritocracy, and that a member must be greedy, and must also be a schemer. Rafgern says the Drivlanes carefully choose their prey, and always go for the kill. Gird is nervous, but Rafgern is saying obvious things. Rafgern states that weapons is something that they can't leave out. Rafgern brings up a gun, and says that it is a new type of gun that converts eculies into bullets. Rafgern notes, it is the most important product of the Drivlanes, and will learn how to handle it later. Gird thinks that being able to use a gun is cool. Rafgern says that they need to confirm how old he is first, and prohibit guns for children under 10. Rafgern will show him an old-style bullet for experience, and only need to look at it. Gird notes that it smells like cinnamon, and that beastkin will detect it easily. Rafgern states that thanks to Caraxis, the bullets don't have that worry. Gird asks Rafgern a question. Gird wonders that when spring has come, doesn't it mean the war is over? Rafgern asks what Gird said. Rafgern asks Gird where weapons could be used besides for attacks. Gird explains that weapons can be used for defense and protection. Rafgern agrees. Rafgern tells Gird that's what the Drivlanes need to develop and sell. Rafgern states that as they've passed the age of swords and have entered the age of guns, nobles will learn how to use the Drivlane guns. That is the future the Drivlanes are envisioning. Gird is happy. Rafgern says that to think Gird grasped the plan. Gird fantasizes about shooting with a gun. Rafgern states that this is the last thing for today. Rafgern reveals the family tree. Rafgern says that they will look at the husband candidates. Rafgern says that only 3 can enter the house. Rafgern states that it will make planning easy, and has one problem. Rafgern says that 1 is the most likely candidate based on political standing. Rafgern says that would be Gird. Gird reacts in shock. Gird is the most likely candidate. Gird is shocked on how Gird is the strongest position right now, and that he must watch until he is gone. Rafgern tells Gird to make a scheme. Rafgern says it's best to kick Gird out before it happens, and asks if they can't. Rafgern says tomorrow's meal might be poisoned. Gird says that that's too casual. Rafgern says that he won't make moves until Caraxis is away, and that there is someone fit to become his stepmother, and is in the Antiarosa Mountains. The ferret exclaims at the thought of Caraxis being away, and what will happen to him. The ferret thinks that if Caraxis disappears, his wary opponents might make their move. Gird ponders about how to survive until Caraxis comes back, and worries whether or not he will be poisoned. Gird notices Caraxis isn't here either, and asks what to do. Caraxis thinks that there is no help for it. Caraxis states that he is assigned as Gird's tutor, and will help him with things. Caraxis explains the alliance between magocracy and the kingdom of Richenbium. Caraxis continues that the Holy Empire must be kept in check, and the alliance cannot be broken. Rafgern states that you can't strip Gird of his status, and he will pass the selection. The ferret notes that he bid him back then. Gird wonders if he might end up as the husband, too. Rafgern explains that Richenbium has ruled with contempt and superiority. Rafgern states that albinos have been the scapegoats. Caraxis is convinced, and is certain he is going to do something to him. Caraxis asks Gird if he wished to remove Rafgern, and the ferret looks confused. Rafgern asks what is it that makes it so that the ferret is surprised. Rafgern asks if Gird wants the right to choose. Caraxis continues, and says that Gird would gain the right to eliminate half of the 10 candidates. The ferret says that the head will grant him the right to choose. Caraxis asks if he is unsure about having the right to choose. The ferret tells himself that he'll definitely earn it. Caraxis and the ferret look forward to the performance. The ferret says that he has one thing he is curious about, and Caraxis asks what it is. The ferret is asked, what if he drive Gird out but doesn't accept it? Caraxis states that those who fail to become the successor are given the rank of border duke. Gird ponders, that their children can become the successor, and don't resist too much. Raffier knew that tradition wasn't always accepted. Some would take the seat by force. But even then, there were mediators to handle conflict, he assured. And those who didn't make it often got key positions anyway, so most people stepped down. Everyone respected the founding head's will. Only the strongest male could lead House Drivlane through fierce competition. The tiny ferret asked what if a daughter stronger than all the males was born. A very good question. As he had explained so far, only males could be the head, but one person broke that tradition. It was Lady Ariadne, Lord Caraxis' sister. She had proven her exceptional talent while alive. He was sharing a specific story. When the head died, the designated lady chose the next heir. The others were so weak, how could they even beat that? All other candidates withdrew before her. The little ferret thought that she was amazing, but hearing it from someone close made it hit different. Raffier looked at the time, realizing he had to go. The ferret thought he had spent a lot of time just for him. Raffier gave the ferret a caramel as a gift, but the ferret was confused. The chibai Raffier thought about, if that was the lady's favorite caramel. The ferret said since Raffier helped today, he was giving it to him. How sweet. Raffier thought the value of the gift was relative, so the caramel must be precious to the lady. Raffier said that he, Raffier, would not forget the value of that caramel. Raffier said goodbye and was leaving. He would pass the message on to John. The ferret thought to start drafting a successor management plan now. First, the ferret needs to fully understand the family tree. Caraxis has no one under his name, must be because of his vow of chastity. The ferret then looked under Ariadne. The ferret recognized Dante and Yuri, but who was this? Something about this felt intimidating, she thought. The ferret wondered why the Grand Madam summoned her so suddenly. She didn't think she'd be meeting her this soon. The ferret wondered, what if the madam took one look and didn't like her? Evangeline told her not to worry too much, that the madam probably just called her in to say hello, but the ferret still feared the madam wouldn't like her. Evangeline urged her to come on, that there was no way she wouldn't be lovely meeting the Grand Madam dressed so beautifully. The ferret answered okay. They arrived at the duchess's chambers, and Evangeline stopped the ferret. Evangeline warned the ferret in advance that the duchess wasn't in good health, and to be careful not to upset her in any way. The ferret understood. The door opened, and the duchess's maid told them to please go in. The ferret thought that this was the Grand Madam's room. That chandelier was stunning. Every single ornament was so extravagant and elegant. Even though it's the ferret's first time here, it all felt strangely familiar. Evangeline announced that she had brought the guest the madam asked for. The madam wondered if the ferret was the one Caraxis had brought in, while holding a cup of tea. The ferret gave her greetings, and said it was an honor to meet her. Nenah introduced herself as Abigail Drivlane, the 18th Duchess, and told the ferret she didn't need to be so formal. She could just call her Nenah, dear. Nenah said she'd been curious about what kind of child the ferret was and wanted to meet her sooner, but she was unconscious until yesterday, so she couldn't call for her right away. She asked if the ferret was still sick. The ferret answered that she was feeling much better now, and Nenah told her to come closer to talk a bit. The ferret thought that Nenah seemed much kinder than she expected. Nenah said it had been a long time, Evangeline. The ferret said yes, madam. Nenah thought back to when Evangeline was looking after their Airy, and how she never imagined things would turn out this way. She had used to be Lady Ariadne's nanny. She must have been devastated, too. Nenah then asked if the ferret was being cared for by Evangeline now, and the ferret confirmed that it was right. Nenah asked if the ferret knew why the Duke assigned Evangeline to her, and wondered why. Evangeline was originally Nenah's daughter Ariadne's nanny. She cared for her ever since she was very young, and even stayed by her side when she rose to the position of acting head. The Duke had entrusted the ferret with the faction that once stood by Ariadne. The ferret was shocked that this was really true. Nenah thought she had suspected it back then. Now she was sure there were multiple factions within the Drivlane family. The Duke was still sharp, which was probably why nothing had come out in the open yet. And what about the other candidates? Get a hold of yourself, Tower Master. Someone was angry that everyone looked like they were scrambling to line their own pockets. If only that brat hadn't been there. So the Duke must have trusted people to show where his favor lies. The ferret bowed deeply, honored, and said she'd do her best to live up to that trust. Nenah remarked that she caught the meaning right away, and was clever, while holding a plate of biscuits. The ferret thought she was being offered one, and that it looked delicious. Inanna wondered where in the world Caraxis found a child like her. The ferret was startled. The ferret thought that was probably better left unknown. Inanna said that she was such a bright child, it must be frustrating not being able to take human form. The ferret told her that no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't feel the Iquilith at all. Inanna explained that Iquilith existed all throughout the world, and once she learned how to gather it from the air, she'd likely be able to take human form. It would be twice as hard for her being an albino, but not impossible. The ferret was surprised, and Inanna assured her that she would find a teacher to show her how to sense Iquilith. Inanna told her if there was anything she didn't know, not to hesitate to ask her. As long as she was feeling well, she was welcome any time. The ferret thought that seeing someone so kind, suffering like this really hurt to watch. She couldn't imagine the pain of losing your own child, but just looking at Inanna, she could feel how deeply painful it must have been. The ferret thought it felt like she'd known Inanna forever. Back then, Ariadne told her mother to look. The lingonberry tree was blooming. Inanna exclaimed that was a wonderful sign indeed. The ferret gasped. Inanna was alarmed, and asked what was wrong all of a sudden. The ferret's memory broke the biscuit. The ferret wondered what that memory was just now. She was going now, and asked her mother to stay healthy. Caraxis reminded Inanna that this was their final war, and to return and spend time with her mother once it was over. She promised. Ariadne told her mother she loved her, hugging her tightly. Something exploded. This can't be real, it's not true. Inanna screamed for her child, her baby, and told them to take her too. The ferret remembered now that this was the room. This was where she first possessed a body. The ferret was shocked that it was possible. She was here, and witnessed everything with her own eyes from this room. More memories were flooding in. What kind of memory was this? It felt so vivid, like she'd seen it with her own eyes. Ariadne was waving, she finally found it. Dante told Ariadne his mom would be so surprised when she saw the video stone later. Caraxis told him she would be sister. Ariadne told them they should also put the dice they have in here for now. Caraxis cautioned Ariadne that she could be seriously injured, and that she should be the one to take it. Ariadne told him that it was fine, Caraxis. They shouldn't use an untested item recklessly, but a lot of people were already using it, saying it could amplify Iquilith up to 10 times. Caraxis asked what if the price was her life. Ariadne responded, besides. Ariadne said that they had been chasing after the dices for so long, and they'd only found 2. Even with the one Rahel gave them, that was only 3. The ferret bowed deeply. Caraxis said the Holy Empire bastards were after them too, and things would get worse if they lost it on the battlefield. Ariadne said that was a fair point, but Caraxis asked where she would hide them, and Ariadne thought that it should be something Mom could eventually find, but also something she'd never throw away. She decided that for now, Dad's vanity table he made as a wedding gift was the most suitable, because there's a secret compartment inside it. Caraxis said he never knew that. Ariadne revealed she made it secretly without telling Mom, and told Caraxis he didn't always have to act so self-assured. Caraxis asked if Ariadne was serious, and to keep it between them until she finds it herself someday. Ariadne promised she wouldn't show it to her until she finds it herself someday, and Caraxis said if that's what she wants, he promised, calling her a good little brother. Ariadne hoped Mom finds this safely. The Duchess and Evangeline asked if the ferret was all right. The ferret asked where she was, and Evangeline told her that she was in her bed, and she had been laid down after losing consciousness. Evangeline told the ferret the doctor said there was nothing wrong, but it didn't make sense that she suddenly collapsed like that. The Duchess asked if she was experiencing any discomfort. The ferret said no, it's not that, and wondered what that memory was. If it's real, she had to tell Inanna, but how? She asked why that spot was sparkling all of a sudden. Inanna wondered if she was sparkling. The ferret saw something was glittering. She was sure it was right around here. Evangeline asked if it belonged to the lady of the house. A video stone. The ferret thought if there was a dice too in that memory, why was it just the video stone? She thought it might let her turn into a human too. Evangeline told the Duchess that a video stone just came out of that vanity. Inanna thought of the secret compartment inside the vanity, even the video stone. She wondered who the only people who'd do something like this were. Ariadne waved, saying she finally found it. Inanna was emotional, as Evangeline called for her. Ariadne said how this was the first time she'd ever called them Mom and Dad, and asked how the event was, and if they were surprised. as well as she just had something she wanted to say. Ariadne said, thinking about it, she never really told them she loved you, so she figured she'd do it like this, through a video. From what she'd heard, Caraxis, and she were born under difficult circumstances. That's probably why they've given them such overwhelming love. Ariadne showed some swords, and said that her parents were worried, because she kept going off to war, but Ariadne revealed that this was the best she could do as a Drivlane, so if anything ever happens to her, please see it as something I did for Drivlane's honor. Ariadne also said she would do her best to stay by their side for as long as she can, so you two have to live a long time too, at least until my son grows up and has kids of his own. Ariadne finally said that she loved them, Mom, Dad. Someone thought, what an unfilial child, leaving something like this behind and going before your old parents. The Duchess was hugging her husband and was crying about Ari, missing her daughter. Her husband told her it was okay to cry, that she'd lived all this time pretending she had no emotions, but when she wanted to cry, cry, when she wanted to laugh, laugh as much as you want. The ferret gasped. The man smiled sadly and thought living like that was probably what Ariadne wanted. Evangeline hoped this at least lightened Lady Nenah's burden. The Duke asked if they found this, and Nenah confirmed that she did. The Duke thought even they had no idea about this, and asked how the ferret knew, child. The ferret hesitated, she needed to say something. The ferret explained that it just sparkled, she suddenly saw it shining for some reason. The Duke thought that she could see the magic emitted from the stone, and perhaps she had some magical talent. The Duke told her it didn't matter. She gave them such a great gift, and the family head's eyes were tearing up, because she showed them their daughter telling them to keep living. The Duke continued, saying she found something so precious and brought it to us. She deserved a reward. He asked if there was anything she wanted, he'd grant it. The ferret thought about a wish. The Duchess smiled slightly, she had an idea. The ferret said she wasn't really sure yet, and asked if she could think about it a bit more. The Duke agreed that it's good to be thoughtful and to take her time. The ferret was happy, and said she'd come back and let them know when she'd decided. Lying in bed, the ferret looked serious, thinking this was what she said. But at that moment, the head and Nenah seemed so emotionally connected to Ariadne. She didn't know much about family, but bringing up the heir topic right then wouldn't have been right. They probably wanted to stay in those memories of Ariadne a little longer. If only she had a family too. A family who would mourn her death, but no, she shouldn't cry over something like this. She was already being treated more kindly than she deserved. She had to harden her heart. This time, she'd make sure to survive till the end. Therefore, among the natural ways albinos have achieved humanization, extreme life-threatening situations were also included. Rafgirn read a report. In that regard, the elder's proposal was to put the young lady into the leopard cage. The ferret was shocked by this. Among the ways albinos naturally achieved humanization, enduring extreme life-threatening situations was one of them. In that sense, the elders once suggested putting the young lady in the leopard's cage. Rafgirn seemed unnerved by this, and the ferret was shocked. But the head rejected it, saying they couldn't do that to a precious daughter of some family they didn't even know. The Duke reassured the ferret, "Don't worry, I'll protect you." Nenah thought that since it would be good to learn how to sense Iculus, she would prepare a new schedule for her training. The ferret agreed. Nenah kept the promise she made back then. She was going to assign her a teacher who could teach her how to sense Iculus properly. The ferret said that was great. Rafgirn appeared and asked who it was. No one's here except for him and Rafgirn, he thought. At most, there was only Pompom. The ferret peeked over at Florin's tail. There seemed to be a problem in the classroom, so today's class would be postponed. The ferret sighed. Rafgirn wondered if he could borrow that golem for a while. Rafgirn didn't mind but told her that she must return it later. The ferret was happy. Rafgirn told her that he'd bring it to her room, and not to worry. The ferret thought that maybe this actually turned out well. She should use this chance to think about the wish she wanted to ask the head for. The ferret went ahead, saying see you later. Rafgirn suddenly wondered when he gave her permission to sit in on the class. Lord Idaho smiled, saying that may be true, but no matter what, he has to see his daughter-in-law soon. Rafgirn told him not to blow up the whole mountain range or burn down the forest. Don't do anything crazy, all of that is forbidden. Lord Idaho asked what if he did that. Rafgirn might pop out just to kick his butt, but if he does, he'll tell the young lady everything. Rafgirn decided he better not, and that he guessed he'd have no choice but to draw a grand magic circle that summons every snow leopard living here. Lord Idaho asked him to please resolve this peacefully, and he'll contact him when it's resolved. He told him to please let it be good news, he'll be waiting. Lord Idaho said he must have heard their conversation, and it was time he showed himself. As expected, he wasn't showing up right away, and just getting all the way out here was already a hassle. Florin needed the Idaho family's support. If it's someone as loyal and respected as him, no one will dare look down on Florin. Lord Idaho will change his mind once he sees that child, because that child was a white lie. A man who's only ever stayed loyal to my sister, now lost and wandering without a purpose. Lord Idaho thought to go back and take a look at what Lady Ari left behind. For someone like him, that child could be the perfect new purpose. Some maids gossiped about the rumor of the young lady, found what Lady Ariadne hid. She was holding the video stone. The rumor continued that she hasn't been here that long, and look at all she's accomplished already. The people wondered if she might be a saint. Ever since the young lady came, the atmosphere in the mansion has totally changed. It's to do their best to prepare the welcoming party for the young lady. Ling told her that the decorations were finished, and she wanted to see in the mirror. Tada tilde take a look. Isn't it cute? The ferret was amazed, and thought that Ling must have put in so much effort. The ferret thanked Ling, saying she loved it so much. Ling replied that today was all about her, young lady. So that's why they've been dressing her up since this morning. There were so many outfits she wanted to see her in, but she had worked hard. There was still some time until the banquet, so would she like to take a walk with John and clear her mind? The ferret agreed, she'd like that, and she needed some fresh air. She told Ling to wait a moment. The ferret thought a banquet, just for her, made her heart beat so fast. She exclaimed to herself that she could have never imagined something like this before. She admitted to being so excited. One of the candidates wondered what was so special about that albino for everyone to be fussing so much. They were even throwing her a banquet. Don't make her laugh. How dare that brat ignore me, a prince? There are plenty of other candidates besides you, idiot. My swordsmanship, and everything else, is far superior to those other brats. I even dropped out of night school to come here and take over this family. Because of some insignificant creature from who knows where, her image was ruined, and those other bastard candidates have also started to subtly ignore her. She asked if this was fair for her to be treated this way. They must not be forgiven. She asked her companion to proceed with the plan. They must, the candidate replied. The preparations were made in secret. Of course, not a single piece of evidence was left behind. The moment the queen read the letter that the candidate sent, no one even knows she was sent here. Good, that's reassuring. If we blow up this heir's residence, the highness will also be a victim, so the chances of suspicion will be low. Before the time bomb detonates, you must leave this place and be somewhere crowded. The more witnesses there are who saw your highness, the easier it will be to eliminate you from the suspect list. I understand. The candidate was going to get ready for this damned banquet, so she'll leave the rest to her helper. Then for Richenbium, the girl thought looking out from behind a door. For Richenbium, her helper thought. Someone asked to look over there. Oh, could it be the rumored young lady? John said she'd come a long way. His peers seemed jealous of him. One told the ferret if this guy messes up, fire him right away and call them. John asked them not to call him. The ferret thought John was already doing such a great job for her. The others said that there's no hope for us. One of the boys said she's making the young lady uncomfortable, so John suggested they leave. One admitted that he was really jealous and wanted to pet that soft tail. John greeted the ferret, and she asked him if they was going to the banquet tonight. The ferret wondered if she was really that pretty. From John's perspective as a normal human, it's impossible for a small animal not to be cute, but here, everyone else is also a beastman, and the ferret was just an albino without any special abilities. John said it was shocking that everyone likes a girl like her. No, what are you saying, young lady? Of course you're adorable. Really? Even though she can't even properly humanize herself, it's completely natural for adult beastmen to find young beastmen cute. It's not that strange that beastmen find young beastmen cute, because humans also find human babies cute. He thought it seemed her inability to humanize bothered her constantly, but there was something he needed to tell her. Normally, most babies struggle with humanization and spend more time in their animal forms and perfectly mastering humanization at an early age. Only monsters from this Driblance family can do that. The ferret wondered if so, kids from other families can't humanize well like me either. Yes, usually, families that produce dominant alphas like monsters are quite rare. The ferret thought she saw, and what kid was good at everything from the start? Seeing only the people of Dribblance made her think she was slow and got anxious, but hearing John's words makes her feel a bit relieved. The ferret thanked John, saying she was already okay now. John was glad to hear that. The ferret was glad too. John wondered what that sound was. It sounded like it's coming from over there. Something big seemed to have happened, and John suggested they go check it out. The sound was definitely getting closer. Run, the ferret cried out. It's a monster, that thing is a monster. The children ran, they had to hurry. What the hell, one cried out. John asked if the young masters were fighting again, and the ferret wondered again. Surely the boys knew there was a banquet tonight to welcome the young lady. He told them to please return quickly and get ready, but they told him it was his own business. The ferret noticed that John felt different than usual, and somehow cold, from what she heard. This isn't the first or second time. The ferret was worried, wondering if those boys always ganged up to bully that kid. John saw a boy sat alone, and asked if he was all right. The young master's face was injured, with cuts and bruises. The ferret thought he looked really hurt. They couldn't leave him like this, and should go with them to treat him. If they didn't, it would leave a scar. The ferret stared at the boy's face. She thought the boy was not just handsome. Should she say he's handsome and pretty at the same time? There's something strangely exotic about him too. She wondered if this was what people mean by beautifully dashing. John asked if he had been bullied again. The ferret was surprised, thinking this kid, young Master Ian. What? She realized it was Ian Dribblance. John said he should go to the infirmary, and he'd escort him there. Ian asked him not to tell anyone, but John was unsure. She realized that his ears and tail are showing. He must be so injured that he can't maintain his human form properly. If he stays like that, it could be dangerous. Let's go to the infirmary, he said with his tiger ears and tail. The ferret thought if it gets worse, you'll be the one who suffers, and besides, those kids might bully you again. If he really doesn't want to go to the infirmary, she'll lie and say she's sick, so the doctor comes to their room. The ferret said, after seeing his name on the family tree last time, she tried to remember something from the original story, but nothing ever came to mind. Even though every other became an alpha in the second half of the original novel, she could never understand why Ian couldn't become a possible male lead, or what kind of person he really was. The mystery only grew. I never imagined he'd be treated this way, especially when he's Lady Ariadne's biological son. Stay back, she told Ian. She couldn't leave him like this. She turned to John and asked if he was coming to the banquet tonight. He wanted to know who the boy was. The ferret thought they were roasting turkey. Doesn't that sound delicious? They also had to take his medicine, and he'd give them a damn gift. The ferret asked if she should spank the boys' butts again. He reacted this time. Okay, now, what should she say? She decided to say the weather's nice. If he has eyes, look at the sky. He asked what's nice about it. Ian, you're pretty, she smiled holding him. John wondered what was going on, and exclaimed to himself that he had committed a barbaric act again. The ferret said things were going so well, just a moment ago. He was told that if he wished to be chosen by the lady of the house, he must always act with grace and composure, and he'd been repeatedly told to abandon his savagery. John told the boy that he broke his promise, so he could not attend tonight's banquet, and to instead report to the punishment room. The little girl with white fur and a pink dress was angry. She thought it unfair that Ian was being scolded without anyone bothering to investigate first. And why was he acting like he was in charge of the guest list? She felt she would be punished. She heard that the tall man in the black coat was Weasel Mormontara, the etiquette instructor. What, an etiquette instructor? She couldn't believe what she was hearing. It couldn't be, she thought. That man was a manners teacher. Judging by Ian's reaction, it probably wasn't the first time he'd been reprimanded. Mormontara seemed determined to make sure this loose cannon was kept under control. And who was Ian? Mormontara demanded to know why the little tiger-eared boy, Ian, hadn't greeted him properly. The boy just wondered what his problem was. The little white-furred girl, Imona, wondered what was wrong with this brat. Mormontara encouraged Ian to greet the lady properly. Mormontara exclaimed how nice it was to see them. But Imona quickly stepped on Mormontara's foot, calling him Sir Grizzly. Mormontara was surprised. If Sir Grizzly was here then. Imona was fuming. She thought that she should be the future lady of the house. What, did he really call her little one? Mormontara introduced himself as Weasel Mormontara and said he looked forward to serving her. Emona, struggling to maintain her composure, thought that if it weren't for her self-control, she would have. Emona decided there was no other choice and yelled, "Pompum." Mormontara was surprised and thought to himself, how rude. Emona questioned if Mormontara was truly an etiquette master. She stated that for someone who taught manners, he didn't even know who to greet first. She thought that Ian did nothing wrong, and that he was being bullied by multiple people, so why was he the only one getting scolded? Mormontara apologized for his outburst, saying he must have been so nervous that he ended up being rude. Mormontara suggested that the young lady might not know something. Emona demanded to know what it was. Mormontara said that young Master Ian was half from an enemy nation, very savage indeed. Ian was surprised. He explained that it was widely known that the late Lady Ariadne went to war and came back with the son of a man from the enemy nation, and said that Emona should know that too. She was shocked. Emona, completely stunned, wondered what he had just said. Mormontara wondered what Ian's mother was. Then he realized it was Lady Ariadne and thought, "Excuse me." Mormontara was being treated this way. He wondered if this was how Lady Ariadne's biological son was being treated. He clarified that the other half of young Master Ian could be a knight or mercenary from the enemy nation, or. Mormontara asked if they were implying that Drivlane blood was inferior. Emona said no, that's not what she meant. Emona ordered him to speak and tell her what really happened, clearly. Ian thought that staying quiet wouldn't make everything go away. He felt that he had no one to trust, and his pride was shattered. Emona thought that it must be really hard for him right now, but that she also knew he couldn't go on like this forever. She thought because she was the same way once. She decided that that was why Ian couldn't find the courage. She would be the one to stay by his side, whether it was Weasel or Weasel who doesn't care. Emona made up her mind, Ian wasn't alone. Ian thought that he wasn't a burden either, and that he was her future husband candidate. Ian told him to come see him tonight, and that he didn't need to be punished, and he would personally go speak to the head. Mormontara wondered what the young lady was doing all of a sudden. Mormontara warned Weasel to listen to what he was saying. Emona, feeling like a saint, guaranteed that Ian was not an ordinary child. Mormontara realized that the young master was destined to become an alpha. He laughed, saying that Ian was finally going to become an alpha. Emona looked surprised. Mormontara repeated that the young master was an alpha. Mormontara laughed and said that young Master Ian was going to become an alpha and that he was really as funny as the rumors said. Emona was confused. Mormontara said, if he was really someone worthy of becoming an alpha, he should have shown the guts to overcome any obstacle right now. He asked them to look at the young master's state, wondering if he really looked like someone who would become an alpha. Emona exclaimed how could he overcome everything alone if no one helped him, and stated that Ian would become an alpha. Mormontara thought that Emona was a noisy brat, and that she was probably just pretending to care about Ian to act like the lady of the house. Mormontara thought that only the pups who survive after falling off a cliff survive. That's the rule of Drivlane. That was why he never interfered, no matter what happened in the heir's rooms. He thought to himself that he honestly wanted to shut Emona's mouth right now. Grizzly told him that Sir John Grizzly wasn't someone you could deal with. Mormontara said for today, he'd just call out quietly. Ian thought that the albino girl acting like she's on his side won't last much longer. Mormontara hoped that the half-breed didn't even make it to the main house and would die like the weakling she was. He'd be happy if that happened too. Mormontara said he would be going now. He said goodbye and left. Emona stomped and wondered what was wrong with that guy. She declared that she would make him regret this later. Ian told Emona she didn't need to come. Emona was surprised. Ian insisted that he didn't need her help. He told her not to side with him, that he didn't need it. Emona thought that thank you must be really hard to say, and that he must be hitting puberty early, and she guessed she'd let it slide. Emona stated that according to her prophecy, Ian definitely had talent. The etiquette instructor agreed that from the way he handles Primavera energy, it seems he has talent. Ian's eyes were locked. He needed something to be said. Ian questioned, then, why he couldn't enter the military academy. Emona wondered if he really wanted to go to the academy that badly, and thought that he'd been holding it all in without saying a word until now. Ian retracted his question asking her to forget what he just said. Emona was worried, calling his name. She thought that being there made him a friend. He didn't think so. Emona insisted that she and Ian were friends. Emona said that since they were friends, she'd give him a hug. Ian questioned why he should. The instructor stated, because they're friends and not to be shy. Ian refused. She pointed out that Ian was acting all shy, and that he had to try stuff like this to get used to it. Emona smelled the air, stating that it smelled like coffee from Edish. She thought it smelled a little like cinnamon, but the beastmen would notice immediately. She thought thanks to Lord Caraxis' technology, magic cartridges had been developed, so there's nothing to worry about. Ian wondered if it was the one he smelled in class. Emona knew it was definitely gunpowder, and wondered why it smelled like that, since there's no shooting class today because of the banquet. Ian wondered why it was suddenly so quiet. Emona asked why he was looking around like that, and Ian said it was nothing. She thought it smelled of gunpowder, and Ian was all covered in wounds and wondered why this felt so familiar. Have I seen this somewhere before? Emona was annoyed that the gunpowder smell was so strong again and wondered where it was coming from. Was it spread on the floor, or? Emona realized it was gunpowder. She remembered that Ian Drivlane was said to be the biological son of Ariadne, the boy who came to start the war, and that Ian was mentioned in the original story. Two women are touring the Drivlane heirs, wing where the heirs are trained. One of the women said that she heard they rebuilt it after an accident, but it looks amazing. The blonde man smiled hearing that Rahin and Gird were on a date in the heirs wing when it happened. He mentioned that someone else got caught in it too. Gird was surprised, and said just thinking about that incident breaks her heart, and wondered why Rahin had brought it up. She repeated his name. Rahin put his hand over his heart, said that it's only natural for him. The two women were having an intimate moment, when Gird said that she did not know Ian. Rahin was only trying to look good to Gird, then he thought if Gird wanted he would be as gentle as she liked. Rahin thought Gird never needed to know that he was the one that blew up this building. Ian, lying on the floor, thought if only he had gotten rid of everything back then. Gird thought even if she and Rahin hadn't broken up, she would have been satisfied. Emona remembered that Gird said he blew up the heir's wing when he was young. Emona wondered, so this is all Gird's doing. She asked Ian in his mind that he dies trapped in it. Is that moment? She had to catch them properly, so they could never do this again. She though to report to the head of the family immediately. Emona though that the culprit had to be waiting for something big to happen, so she had to minimize damage while catching them. She thought of using that method, and that of course. A boy wondered what the hell was that noise. A boy was upset that the banquet was being hosted here. He told his helper to be quiet. He was angry that his plan was falling apart like this. He wanted to blow up the heir's wing while everyone was distracted, and though if he caused a little chaos he could blame Emona, but was shocked and angry they were doing a treasure hunt here. Maids stated what a cute event the treasure hunt was, they though to hide them well. The boy saw the maids, and was angry that if the servants started ransacking the place, the bombs he hid will be found. He thought he had to recover the bombs immediately. The helper placed an ornament in a vase. She though it's strange, since they have not hidden the treasures yet. The etiquette instructor asked if someone has already started the treasure hunt. The boy was caught and said it's the albino. The boy said all the attention has to be on the main building, and what if they notice the scattered gunpowder? He said everyone is in human form now, but that albino might smell it, and that bear is standing there of all places. The boy though one wrong move, and he could die, has to find a way to talk his way out of this, and stated he's hiding his treasure. Emona wanted to see the treasure. The boy was screwed, and said it was nothing special really. The boy stuttered it'd be better if she looks for it after it's hidden, but Emona wants to see it now. The boy thought he heard it from Gird, but did not think she would be this reckless. John Grizzly asked what was going on, but the boy said the young lady said she wants to see it now. The boy though that if she drops it that it will go off, but tells her yes, here you go. The boy though that it might not look like much, but it's valuable so handle it carefully. Emona asks if this ugly thing is the treasure, and that it's heavy and boring. The boy asked for it back so he can hide it again. The boy asked the young lady why she was, but Emona just stares. Emona asked what if she throws it, and everyone screamed. She said it was just a prank, and if the boy knows right, she then thought there is no way he knows right. Emona yelled take this and hits him. He yelled for her to give it back. The boy realized he had to escape before the bomb explodes, and called her a crazy weasel. He wondered why it was so quiet. She said that that was a prank too. John Grizzly was holding the bomb and stated that it looks like there is something inside. The boy realized she knew everything. The boy had to quickly recover the remaining bombs, and that even a small delay and everyone in the building dies. This was going to explode into a massive incident, not just punishment, even Richenbium could fall. He wasn't sure, but Florin was right. No way, the boy though that woman is the duchess who's been in seclusion. Why is she here? He heard if anyone caused trouble, the culprit would come collect the bombs himself. The duchess, Lady Iana, thought that she was trying to disgrace Driblange and thought it was unforgivable. The duchess ordered to arrest that one, and a black panther growled. Emona was happy by Lady Iana's touch, and that it was warm and comforting. The duchess thought how smart and amazing she was, and that she learned about the bombs from books. The duchess was shocked when she said she wanted to play treasure hunt, but had a noble purpose and was very clever. Emona stated she knew the culprit would panic and come back to recover the bombs if she started finding them. Emona thought that the bombs could explode if they were together. The duchess, though how the family received such a blessing. The duchess, though to thoroughly investigate who was behind this in Driblange, and that if she handles everything herself, the family will have nothing to do. Maybe I'll play dumb. Emona asked what was it, and that she was going to erase the rest of the bad guys too. Lady Iana was confused and questioned if the tutors were allowed to hit the heir. Lady Iana was confused and questioned if someone named Weasel keeps hitting Ian and saying it's discipline. The duchess thought while she was focused on politics, the rats have been running wild, and that she will take care of the rest. Emona wished Ian could hear this happy news, but that he has been missing for a while, and was asked if she was looking for something. The duchess wanted to tell Ian that it was all okay now, but that she can't find him anywhere, and that he is probably in his room, since he is shy and prefers to be alone. Emona, though it's just shyness, and was told to go see him, that his room is on the east end of the second floor. The duchess ordered all buildings to be sealed, and ordered everyone to evacuate, yet not even a peep from him. She thought that he must be more distant from her than she thought. She thought that the duchess has been in seclusion the whole time, and that Ian has been always alone, so he wouldn't trust anyone. The duchess said she removed all the obstacles, and now only happiness awaits Ian, and that even if it will be uncomfortable to be around others at first, but it's okay. Emona was going to help Ian from now on. Emona walked up to the door and said to come out since hiding there won't work. She promised there are lots of yummy food and fun stuff, so let's go together. Ian was confused. Ian wondered what was going on here.